awake?
Is that Jane?
Yes. It's Jane.
Have you come to say goodbye?
Helen. What do you mean?
I heard the doctor, Jane. He said she'll probably go tonight.
Go? Go where, Helen?
I am going to God.
Helen!
I believe in him, Jane.
Are you sure, Helen? Are you sure? Will I ever see you again?
Dear Jane, always asking questions. I want to sleep now. I feel so happy with you beside me.
I'll stay with you. No one will take me away.
Jane, don't be too unhappy. One day, you'll leave this awful place. I know you will.
Yes. One day I will.
Good night, Jane.
Good night, Helen. Helen? Helen? Helen!
That would be your married look, I suppose, sir. Is that how you'll look a year from now when I ask you a favour it doesn't suit you to grant?
I'm sorry.
I'd like to wear this. May I?
Of course.
When I told Mrs. Fairfax, she acted so strangely.
What did she say?
Nothing. She didn't even wish me happiness. Does she think it wrong or something?
Why do you say that?
Well, does she think I'm not good enough for you?
She has very old-fashioned ideas. Forget about her.
You see, I'm not beautiful, and I feel I'm not worthy of you.
I love you, Jane. No one in the world can look as beautiful.
To you, perhaps, but not to other people.
There are no other people. There's only Jane Eyre and Rochester. Jane! Jane! That's better.
Don't leave me.
It's all right, Jane. I won't leave you. Now, try and tell me what happened. Why did you call for help?
Horrible, horrible.
Try and tell me what it was, Jane.
She came in and she stood over me and her eyes were blazing with hatred. I've never seen such a look on any face. Then she went and she got that veil and she ripped it in two with a terrible violence and she came to me and I thought she was going to kill me. Who is she? Who is that woman?
There was no woman, Jane. You had a terrible nightmare, that's all, but you're safe now.
Safe? But who knows what that creature may do?
Jane, you speak as though you believed this. It was a dream, that's all.
That's not true. What you trying to hide from me? What's going on in this house? I've a right to know.
Dream, Jane.
Look there. It was no dream.
I've told you before. Grace Poole
It wasn't Grace Poole. I saw her face clearly. It was no one I've ever seen in this house before. Why can't you tell me who she is?
I can't tell you, Jane. After we're married. After tomorrow, when we're far away from here, but not now.
But you must tell
You
me.
must trust me, Jane.
Will it happen again?
No. I give you my solemn word.
Oh.
No. Let me take you to Adele's room. Stay with her for the rest of the night. Lock the door.
Edward, the wedding veil. I'll try to mend it.
Go and find Miss Eyre. Tell her I'm waiting.
Here I am.
Jane, you look so beautiful. You ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
Mrs. Fairfax, see that everything is ready for our immediate departure on our return.
Certainly, sir.
Come, Adele. Come, dear.
Edward,
Now, what are you thinking?
you shouldn't have seen me like this. It's supposed to be unlucky.
Are you afraid?
No, I'm not afraid.
Shall be disclosed, that if either of you know any impediment, whereby ye may not be joined together in matrimony, ye do now confess it. For be ye well assured that so many as are joined together otherwise than God's word doth allow are not joined together by God, neither is our matrimony law. Edward, dost thou take this woman to thy wedded wife?
Stop! This marriage cannot take place. I declare the existence of an impediment.
Who are you, sir? What right have you to interrupt?
I'm a London solicitor, and my name is Briggs.
You know these people?
This gentleman, by name, Edward Rochester of Thornfield.
Go on with the marriage!
I cannot do that, sir, until I know the nature of this impediment. Perhaps it can be got over and explained away.
I hardly think that's likely. The ceremony you're performing is a bigamous one. Mr. Rochester is married already. Here is a copy of the certificate of his marriage 15 years ago to Bertha Mason at Spanish Town, Jamaica.
All that proves is that I was once married. You have no proof that my wife is alive.
Mr. Mason? When did you last see Mrs. Rochester?
In April.
Where?
Thornfield. Rochester let me see her.
And what relation are you to Mrs. Rochester?
A brother.
true, Mr. Rochester? Is your wife still living?
Yes, but this girl knew nothing. You must blame me for this.
Can't believe it. I've lived here for many years, but I've never heard of a Mrs. Rochester at Thornfield.
No, but you've heard the village tales of a mysterious lunatic kept there. Yes, my wife. He knew how she was. He never warned me, yet he comes here today to destroy my one chance of happiness.
All this, Mr. Rochester, is no excuse for bigamy.
Excuse? How easily you say that. But you've never seen her, have you? You don't know my lawful wife. Come and meet her. You too, sir. Come, Jane. Come on, Mason. She'll be glad to see you.
Come along, Mr. Mason. This has to be done.
Keep quiet, can't you? Stop that noise, do you hear?
Open the door, Grace. Come on, Mason. Or are you afraid? How is she this morning, Grace?
Oh, pretty well, sir. Fairly quiet for a change.
You remember this room, don't you? Give me the key.
You're never going in there, sir. You know what she's like when she sees you.
Give me the key. Well, don't you want to see my wife? Keep away! Keep away! Open the door, Glenn.
Hurt.
No. No, I'm used to this.
A strength, an inhuman strength.
Oh, yes, she's strong. Her health is excellent. I have many years of married happiness ahead of me.
Has she been long like this?
Since the first year of our marriage.
There are houses for the insane.
Have you seen them?
Oh, Master's been so good to her, sir. If ever she was ill, she was nursed and cosseted like other folk. And all the time he knew she'd be better dead.
I wished that many times, God knows.
So they found out, sir.
Yes, Grace, they found out.
Why did you stop him, sir? Why didn't you let him have a chance?
Whatever provocation Mr. Rochester may have had, and I admit it was great, bigamy is an offence against the law.
The law. Why are your laws all on her side and not on mine? I tried to break one of your laws today. Very well. What harm would it have done?
The girl, Mr. Rochester.
I'd have given her happiness. Is she happy now that you've saved her from me? She need never have known.
She was bound to find out.
How? You'd never have known yourself if he hadn't come from Jamaica to inform against me.
Mr. Mason was not our informant.
Who told you then?
Miss Eyre herself.
Jane, she never set eyes on you before.
Oh, quite by chance. She has an uncle in Jamaica. He has business relations with Mason. When Miss Eyre wrote and told of her impending marriage, he happened to speak of it.
I had to tell him you were married, Edward. What else could I do?
Jane, of all people. Well, where is she? Jane! 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 Open the door! I must speak to you! You have nothing to say to me, Jane. No word of reproach. Hatred. Jane. Jane, for God's sake, speak to me. Do you hate me so much?
No.
That you no longer love me?
Why did you do it?
I tried to send you away. On my honor, I tried. But I couldn't. I loved you too much. Jane, you won't suffer by this. We'll go abroad for good. We'll go at once. Jane, say you'll come with me. Say you'll come with me, Jane.
No.
Why not?
No, why not?
Because I am married. Is that what you call marriage? That?
I can't go with you, sir.
So I was mistaken even in you. You don't love me. All you valued was my position, the rank I could give you. Now that you can't be my wife, you'll be nothing to me. Oh, Jane, don't let me say this. I know they're not true. I'm nearly out of my mind. Jane, what's altered between us? What difference can a ceremony make if we really love each other? Do you still love me, Jane?
Yes.
Then stay with me. When people love each other as we do, it's wickedness to part.
It would be wickedness to stay.
Oh, Jane. I never meant to hurt you. I only tried to snatch a little happiness for both of us. Is it wrong to seek to be happy when one has lived in hell for 15 years?
15 years?
Yes. I was 25, Jane. Not so very much older than you are now.
Why did you marry her?
It was arranged for me, Jane, by my father. He wanted me to be rich. I was a younger son with very little property. This woman had a fortune. My father knew that the family was tainted with madness, yet he never told me. The marriage took place, and I discovered what I had married. Oh, God, when I think of it! And I was bound to have a life.
Don't talk about it anymore.
No, you must hear the rest. There's not much more. For years, I lived in Jamaica. Then my father and my brother died. I had no relations here who knew of her, so I brought her back to Thornfield. I engaged Grace Poole to look after her, and I went abroad. You know what I did there? I sought forgetfulness in whatever company provided it. And then, one frosty winter afternoon, I rode back to Thornfield. And I found... Do you remember, Jane?
Don't.
I found someone I could truly love. Oh, Jane, Jane, you must stay with me. I won't let you go. I can't lose you.
No.
We'll live abroad.
No.
No one need ever know. It wouldn't be wicked to love you.
It would be to obey you.
Why? Why? Whom do you injure? You've no relatives or friends who care what happened to you.
I care for myself.
Oh, Jane!
My being cries out to love and comfort you. But I must go. No, but I want the strength to do it. God bless you, sir.
Do I disturb you?
No, I'm surprised, that's all. I thought the road from the parsonage was quite impassable. Oh, shall I take your coat?
Thank you.
I've resigned myself not to see anybody for a few days. What do you think of my drawing? Is it like?
Like whom? I didn't observe it closely.
You did, Mr. Rivers. Who is it like?
Miss Oliver, I presume?
I think Miss Oliver would like you to have it.
That I should like to have it is certain. Whether it would be judicious or wise is another question.
Wouldn't it be judicious or wise to take the original to yourself at once?
What else is this you've been drawing?
A place I once knew.
An imposing residence. A wealthy man's house, I should say.
Yes.
You must have known it well. The house where you were employed, perhaps? Thornfield. Is this Thornfield Hall?
Yes.
Were you employed there by a man called Rochester? I must know.
Yes.
What is your name? Are you Jane Eyre?
I had to change it. I didn't mean to do any harm.
Sit down, Miss Eyre, and listen to me quietly. Have you ever heard of John Eyre?
He's my uncle.
And you wrote to him just before you left Thornfield.
But how do you know all this?
John Eyre was my uncle too, Jane. My relative and yours. Do you remember hearing my sister speak of a legacy we hope to inherit?
Yes.
John Eyre died 6 months ago, leaving his property not to us, but to a niece he had never even seen, Jane Eyre.
To me?
Yes. The solicitors traced you as far as Thornfield, but after that you disappeared. That's how I know so much about you. Jane, you have been left something in the region of £20,000.
As much as that?
Yes.
Then there'll be enough for all of us. Diana and Mary can come home again, and we can divide the money equally between us.
Jane, this is £20,000. You can't start giving most of it away.
Yes, I can.
My sisters must please themselves. I won't touch a penny of it.
But you must take it. Then with some of the money, I can endow the school more generously, so that when I leave...
Leave? Do you intend to leave us, Jane? I don't know what you'd run away from before I met you. I was afraid it might drag you back. But you've been in Morton half a year. So far, you've shown great courage. I respect you for it.
Thank you.
Such courage should be put to a higher purpose. It should be used in God's work. Jane, I've never been content. You must have seen it. To live here, buried. I, who preach contentment with a humble lot in God's service. I, his ordained minister, almost rave in my restlessness. You know I'm going to India in 6 weeks' time as a missionary. I ask you to come with me.
To India?
You'll be of great help to me, Jane. And as my wife, you will work to the glory of God.
Your wife?
Yes. I ask you to marry me.
But you don't love me. You love Miss Oliver.
I could never take her with me. Rosamond, a labourer, a sufferer, a missionary's wife. No.
Is her disappointment nothing to you?
Miss Oliver is surrounded by flatterers and suitors. In a month, she will have found someone else. You are constant. I ask you to marry me.
It's wrong. Without love... No.
I respect and admire you. Have I asked for love from you?
No, I can't. I can't.
Why not? Is there someone else?
No.
The man who lives here. Is that it?
You've no right to question me like this.
Is it? Answer me.
Yes, yes, it is.
I see. And does he love you?
Yes. He's not free to marry me.
And yet you still cling to him in your mind. You disappoint me, Jane. I thought you finer than that. I do wrong to reproach you. It's my duty to help you. And I will. First, you must destroy this.
Thornfield? No.
You must not go back to Rochester. When you ran away, you were penniless. You were dependent on us. But now this money sets you free and your mind flies to Rochester. This drawing tells me that. Destroy it, Jane. Forget the past. Come to India with me.
I gave you my answer.
Jane, No. I've been too sudden, and I've frightened you. I'll ask you again later when you've had time. And now, be strong, Jane. Break this unhappy link with the past. Destroy it.
Can't. It's all I have to remember.
But you don't want to remember. It's over. Finished.
He loved me. I know he loved me. I can't destroy it.
Jane.
I can't do it.
Burn it, or I will burn it for you.
No. No. No.
Jane's trying on her new dress now, St. John.
And she looks lovely. She'll be down in a minute. And St. John, she insists that we share the money.
She was terribly upset when she thought we were going to refuse.
Did she say anything to you about me?
In what way?
Did she tell you I'd asked her to marry me?
No. Oh, St. John, I'm delighted if that's what you want. Has she accepted you?
I think she will.
Then that means that you won't be going to India after all. Oh, St. John, I'm so glad.
Of course I shall still be going to India. What possible difference could my marriage make?
Oh, but the climate, the fever, the heat. You can't mean to take Jane with you.
I do?
How could she stand it?
You're going of your own free will. But Jane, it would kill her. It's wrong of you to do this. It's wicked and cruel. Jane, St. John says that... Is it true that you've promised to...
What Jane has promised is a matter between her and me, Diana. I wish to talk to her alone.
Come, Mary.
Couldn't you even notice her new dress?
A letter has come for you.
A letter? Where is it?
Well, aren't you going to open it?
It's only from the solicitor about my uncle's estate. You see, it isn't from Mr. Rochester as you thought.
Nor as you hoped. You've been writing to him, haven't you? Haven't you?
No.
I don't believe you. You're lying to me. I could tell from your face you thought that was an answer to a letter you wrote.
I never wrote to him. I only wrote to Mrs. Fairfax.
Why should you write to Thornfield at all? Why?
I wanted to know what had happened to him. I hurt him so badly.
How often have you written?
Only twice before this. Can't understand it. Why hadn't I heard?
You lack perception, Jane. I'm surprised at you. You're generally so acute. Surely what's happened is plain enough. Your Mr. Rochester has consoled himself elsewhere.
I don't believe you. You don't know him. He loved me.
He loved other women before, and will love them again.
That's not true. You've no right to speak like that. You don't know him. You could never know or understand him. You're hard and cold. All you know is duty, duty. You see yourself as a saint, don't you, St. John? That's your ambition, and you don't care whom you sacrifice to it. Well, my life was given me to use, not throw away.
Your abuse of me matters little. Those of us who live Christian lives are bound to be misunderstood. That is our cross, and we must bear it. But what does matter, Jane, is your arrogant assumption that your life was given you to do with as you please. How dare you say that? Have you no gratitude for God's mercy in saving you from death the night you came here? Do you think he had no purpose for you?
I am grateful. I've tried to show you how much.
No. If you were, then you would allow me to direct. Use your life to a higher purpose.
I can't go to India with you.
Jane, I offer you a life of service to the poor and the suffering. Not happiness, not content, but glory. The glory of God, Jane.
I daren't listen to you.
Because you know that I am right.
St. John.
Jane, if you reject this call, it is not me you deny, but God.
Give me a little time.
No, Jane. That is weak. You must decide.
I don't know what to do. If only I could be shown the way.
Jane. Jane, believe me, I know. Let me talk to you again. Let me urge you to... What is it? What's the matter? What is it? I hear nothing. What's happening?
My prayer. It's answered.
Jane!
Wait for me! Wait for me, I'm coming! Wait!
Thank you. Pour me a glass of water. Yeah? This isn't Leah?
He's in the kitchen.
Who is this? Who is it?
Jane.
Her very fingers. Jane. Jane, is it Jane?
She's here. I'm glad to be so near
Jane
you.
Eyre!
I'm here. This time I won't ever leave you.
You'll stay with me.
Unless you object. Let us sit down. It's time someone took you in hand. Oh, your hair is all wild and unkempt, and your clothes. And the fire's going out. Can you tell when there's a good fire?
Yes. With my right eye, I can just see the glow.
And the candles?
Very dimly.
Can you see me?
No.
When do you take supper?
I never take supper.
You will tonight. I'm very hungry. Leah. Leah.
Jane, where are you?
I'm here.
Oh, Jane. Jane, my darling, I thought you'd gone away.
Come back to the fire. There. Now you're sitting in the light again.
Can you bear to look at my face in the light, Jane? Am I hideous?
Very, sir. You always were, you know.
I haven't knocked the wickedness out of you wherever you've been. Oh, Jane. You mustn't go. Now that I've touched you, heard you, I can't lose you again.
I shall stay, sir. I told you so.
Yes, but what are you thinking of, Jane? Waiting on me, a kind little nurse about my hand and chair, huh?
I'm content to be only your nurse if you think it better, sir.
If I think... But you're young, Jane. One day you'll get married. Someone...
I don't care about marriage, sir.
Good! If I was what I once was, I would make you care. No. No, it won't do. I can't ask.
I will be what you want. Your neighbor, your nurse, your housekeeper, your servant, your companion.
I want a wife, Jane. Is that unwelcome news?
That depends whom you choose, sir.
You shall choose for me. I'll abide by your decision.
Choose her who loves you best.
I will choose her I love best. Jane, will you marry me?
Yes.
A blind man, 20 years older than you, whom you'll have to wait upon.
Yes.
Truly, Jane?
Most truly. Supper's ready. Let us go in.